To-Ziggi and Irmgard. Thank you very much for the package that's arrived on, I hope you can see me, you know, come back and sit down. Thank you very much for your package arrived on the Friday the 17th of January of this year, 2003. Also had a letter from Gordon Hannah on Monday the 13th, and so I've been making him some tapes. Unfortunately, the photocopy down at the Hub Library now has been changed, and it doesn't take the thick card, so I have to do all the stuff again in thin paper. So you'll probably have to excuse me and accept them like this. You'll request to have not 5-hour videos because they're too long. Well, as I said, I've tried it with Gordon Hannah's one, and I think you're just going to have to accept 4 hours from me and go around to a friend's place and watch them over at a friend's place, because I did buy you some 3-hour cassettes, but I keep using them for programs off the TV, having to keep going down and buying other ones. And I've been down to the Hub now 3 times for Gordon, because I've bought 4 hours for him and I've used them up for things on TV, so I finally got round to doing his ones. So that's so he can catch up. You've already got that one, but as you see, as you can see with the one with Gordon's, I can't even put the pictures on the front because the photocopying machine, and so you're going to have to accept this like this until I get a proper set run off, and I'll send them out to you, Gordon, and to yourself when I get, because I do most of this work during the cool months of the year. As I said, this is, you know, we're right in the middle of summer now, and it's pretty hot and humid, and I don't like doing any of that sort of work this time of the year. So I do that from, like, yeah, the 3rd week of May all the way through to the 2nd week of October. I do that sort of work. As you can see, I'm sending to Gordon some samples of, and I'm sending you some as well. There's some nickel salts, some chromium, and this one here. This is what we've got onto recently. This is some cerium. You may remember me mentioning that in 1996 we tried lanthanum and had no success. And in 1998 we tried gadolinium and had no success. Of course, lanthanum and gadolinium are 2 of the trendsetters in the what they call the rare earth series, I suppose, lanthanide series. And the 3rd one, the 3rd trendsetter, cerium. Well, we've had some success with that. That's the first time we've had some success. So, so now what we're going to go into is we're going to search through all the other rare earths that are found in monazite sand. It seems monazite sand is the connection there. So I've ordered some neodymium with an M, not an N. It's hard to say. I keep calling it neodymium instead of neodymium. And yttrium, and so basically the rest of this year is going to be spent going through all the rare earths and seeing how they, which ones are active. But basically the rare earths that are found in monazite sand, and then we try them in combination with one another, and maybe have a whole group of them. If we find out they all work in it, they produce like a synergistic growth response, because you get a synergistic growth response from when you use chromium and nickel. So you can use, for example, nickel sulfate, that's the bluey green, or nickel chloride, which is this sort of grassy green. Well, anyway, now to answer your videos. I'll just say thank you very much for these. Now, some constructive criticism, I suppose. I really like this. I like this cover. I really preferred this cover to this one. But what I did like is I like the fact that the cover on the international version, I like the way it went all the way around. That was good. I like that one. I didn't like the fact that this was there on the back. But I preferred this cover, this nice cover. As to the writing here, I wonder if a nice lime green or electric blue for Fleischmania would be better against this brown, because blue is the opposite of brown, and a lime green, a nice lime green sort of, I don't know if you can see this, nice lime green would stand out better against that background. That's just constructive criticism. And that's yeah, that's what I can say about that one. What we did like was this wine to code on the back. That was very good. That was very helpful. That was. Okay, and I like the way you put this, you incorporated this into the middle of this. That was very good, but unfortunately now, I suppose, doesn't this make this somewhat redundant? I don't know, but I just got the impression that now that you put that into the middle of this, that one's now somewhat redundant, but I still thank you for the copy. Thank you very much for the copy of that. So hopefully you'll become the official photographer for all future conventions. I'm just wondering what happened to the 2001 convention, because you did filming for the 2001, you've done the 2002. What happened to 2001? Is there a video available for 2001? Oh, here's something of this. As in the 2001, the best segments in the 2001, in the 2001, I felt were the bit about the naughty Venus flytraps, in quotes, and the Chiang Li's spiel about Nepenthes. That was what I felt. Those are the two best segments I felt on the 2000 version. On this one, I felt there were four really good segments on there. The first one was the Pinguicula Ramosa through the 4 seasons. That was very good. I thought they were very enthusiastic. The Japanese were as enthusiastic about Pinguicula Ramosa as I am about the Venus flytrap. I thought, I've got to hand it to them. Watching them go through the snow in the winter and hearing the cameraman puffing and panting behind the camera and someone they have to climb up the mountain. I thought it was brilliant. That really was good. And also the time-lapse photography they did for Pinguicula Ramosa growing there. I thought that was really good. That was one good segment. Chiang Li's talk on here about the new forma lowii and that new species discovered was interesting, but I didn't think it was quite as good as the nice long lecture he gave in 2000. It was good, but I felt his one in 2000 was a lot better. But it was still very interesting. The Stephen E. Williams segment about Venus flytraps, closing and opening, that was also very interesting. Doug Donosky's one on the a new way to grow Aldrovanda. Well, of course, it's history now, isn't it? It's recently appeared in the international CPN in Carnivorous Plant Newsletter. But that was very interesting. That was, and I wonder if it can be adapted to other aquatic eutrix and things like that. And also the fourth one was the Andreas Wistuba general 20-minute talk on his visits to all these tapuis. I thought it was a very good roundup of most of the tapuis there, and I like the idea that he's gone to some of those really small little tapuis, little slices of tapuis. I thought that was very interesting. So they were the 4 bits I thought were good. Was the Japanese bit, the Doug Donosky's a bit about Aldrovanda, Stephen E. Williams' segment on the Venus flytrap, and Andreas Wistuba's bit about the tapuis and the new discoveries of Helium-4. I thought they were the 4 best bits on the tape. So that's my constructive criticism. Yeah, so I like, as I said, I like the fact that it's a nice wraparound. I do like the paper you've got there. This idea, this looks like tablecloth. It's sort of like got weave, thread and weave pattern. It's quite good. I like that idea. As I said, maybe change this to electric blue or to a nice lime green. And to your matches, hang on. That's dual matches here. Very good. I thought this was very good. The only thing I thought was it's the wrong colour for the. You've got this nice sort of orangey or almost orangey gold. Now my input on this would be a nice lime green. This gold would go nice against the lime green. If you've got silver, then that would go against a nice turquoise to electric blue if you had silver on here. So if you had this silver, you may think about what happens if you had like a rhodium pink type metallic look. What colour would you use then? Would you use or purple? Would you use purple or black if you had like a rose pink metallic look? But I suggest the best one for this would be a nice lime green. See, I don't know if you can, this nice lime green you get of like nickel chloride, it's hard to show you. I think I've got an example somewhere in, I'll show you what I mean. Here we go, here's some of the things I've been keeping for the ideas. You know, you've got things like this, you've got opposites, they go well, sort of fancy things like this. But what I've got here, specifically talking about your, you know, you got patterns like this and things like that, and I've got somewhere along here. But this is what I'm talking about. When you've got, you see, this is a sort of yellowy green. Do you understand? I'll see if I can put it in the camera. Do you understand what I mean? You really want something that's a bit greener than that, but I think this is faded over the years. It used to be a nice limey green. It's about 12 years old, this thing. I've been keeping it for 12 years and it's faded. This is what you want. This sort of green here. See this green here? That's what you want, but with this sort of goldy background. But for your matchboxes like that, something like that, we'll go with that nice sort of yellowy. If you've got yellowy gold, then your purple, a nice purple would go with a yellowy gold. Or if you've got an orangey gold, then your sort of lime green sort of comes out better. This is what I mean about the silver. See, you got blue and silver. What you want is a nice electric blue, but this is just an example. See if I can show you other things. You want a nice sort of blue there, and I don't know if you can see the way the purple go, you know, the silver goes against the blue there. So that's an idea. I don't know what else I've got here. I've got some sort of thing of the world. Is this it? Oh yes, this is what we're thinking of for Fen. You see, all those years ago, we were thinking you could have something like that for Fen, but show, where are we? Australia there, sort of has that sort of for Fen sort of thing, with this opposite colours. But they're just some of the ideas we've had over the years, so I just thought that would help you. Anyway, I'll just answer a few more questions. I don't know if you can see this, but here's all my tubers that I put down there. And some of them, I don't know if you can see in here, some of them have started to actually sprout already. And 2 weeks ago they hadn't, and now we're in halfway through February and some of them started sprouting. And they've come through the wax, starting to grow. So they can actually come out of the wax. I've got to plant these pretty soon too. I've also got you some glanduliciferous seed, because you said you wanted some, so you can do some experiments now in Germany. And as I said, what I found is what you want to do is put a bit of wax on the surface of your pot. Just grind up a little bit of wax, put it on just the surface of your pot, just the surface, and that should get you a lot of germination. They should all germinate around about the same time too. They germinated here last year around the middle of the. When we went away on a holiday. It was that week we were away on holiday. That's when they all started germinating. Because when I came back, I had hundreds of them germinated. This year, I'm going to try putting wax down on the ground around our property and see if I can get some of them to germinate actually on the ground around the property. So I've got a site where I've had seeds down in previous years that haven't germinated, and I'll put another site I'll put some fresh seed down, and I'll put wax on both sides and see which ones germinate. We get germination on both sides when it's definitely down to the wax. So there you go. I've gone through last year's tapes and I've ordered them, so after you've got these tapes there should be another one turning up reasonably soon about what we did last year. But as you said, we're going full steam ahead now that we've found that we get a response from cerium. This in fact is cerium ammonium nitrate. That we're just going full steam ahead now through most of the rare earths that we've determined seem to be in monazite sand, and that seems to be the key, being near the ocean and near serpentine and with monazite sand, because there's areas in Western Australia, all down the southwest of Western Australia, where monazite sand occurs. It's actually quite often a beach sand, so all these statements that you shouldn't use beach sand in your potting mixes, I'm wondering if this is a spurious comment to deter people from actually discovering the true way to grow your plants. So I don't know, but maybe a bit paranoid here, but I just wonder if people out there really do know how to grow the plants and they're not letting on. It's sort of like just trying to grow money for jam type plants, you know, just sell the fly trap, it dies, people come back and buy another one, and they sell another one and it dies, and it keeps coming back. Whereas if we get onto the right stuff, they might grow bigger and bigger and divide and flower, and you have lots of plants next year to give away to other people. But yeah, it looks like we've finally got onto it. As I said, it's third time lucky. We tried lanthanum in '96, it didn't have any effect. We tried gadolinium, the second trendsetter in the lanthanide series, in '98 and had no luck. Finally decided, well, we'll give it one more go. We'll try the third trendsetter, cerium. In fact, cerium is the most prolific in the monazite sand. It's has the highest concentration of. It's the second most reactive, like europium is the most reactive, but it's the most abundant of the rare earths. So I don't know why we didn't try it the first time, but there may be some sort of synergistic growth response with lanthanum, because wherever this occurs, it's always like 60% of this and 40% lanthanum. So there may be some sort of synergistic growth response when I put this together with lanthanum, but as I said, we've got a lot of work to do this season. It's all going to be worked on Drosera binata, because that's our positive control plant. So if they respond, then it's highly likely that the Venus flytrap and cephalotes and other serpentine responsive CPs will also respond. So it's full steam ahead now. We're fine. I think we've seen the promised land and we're going down the other side, and I suspect now that these rare earths play a major importance. As I said, our theory was that some of the rare earths were replacing boron and zinc, because boron, as in normal plants, is the master controlling element for sugar translocation and starch accumulation. So, and yet the CPs didn't seem to like boron that much. So we thought, oh well, maybe since all these other elements are being replaced, like it looks like the nickel replaces magnesium to some degree, and chromium replaces iron to some degree. We thought, well, and molybdenum replaces manganese. We thought, well, if we're having all these, and rubidium can replace potassium, if we can have all these replacements, well then maybe there's a replacement for boron and zinc. And we think, well, maybe the boron replacement will be found within the rare earths, and the zinc replacement will be found amongst the metalloids, like gallium or germanium or something like that. So, because there is one other element we ought to look at, is eventually, way down the end of the track, say thallium, which is highly poisonous and will probably have to be tested under university conditions, but that's one I would like to try all right at the end, mainly because it has the ability to also replace potassium. So it's a very heavy metal that can replace potassium. So that's basically what we're doing this year, is just following this avenue now. We found one rare earth that seems to make a difference in the growth. How it does, as I said, we think it might be just replacing boron, but that's just the theory at the moment. as I said, we'll go through all the other rare earths and find out if they have any response and if there's any synergistic growth responses between a number of rare earths. But that will take most of this year, 2003. I think most of this growing season will be taken up doing these experiments to work these things out. But after that, I think the whole field of CPs is going to change quite rapidly and radically, and it will also have effects on Australian natives and also South African natives, which are also nutrient poor plants that grow in these somewhat silicate sands. But these are actually, these rare earths occur in a thorium, silicate, phosphate sand. So most of the rare earths are there as phosphate, and there's about 6% thorium silicate there. But there are three types of monazite sands you can get. You can get the high quite radioactive thorium silicate containing monazite sand, and you get two others which have like high yttrium, high lanthanum content, and the other one high cerium content. The one that has the high thorium silicate, or 6% thorium silicate, usually also contains the yttrium and the neodymium. But I'm actually going to buy these elements individually because I don't really want to be messing around with radioactive materials. It's probably too dangerous. One way you can test whether your sample monazite sand is the radioactive form is to mix it with zinc sulfide, and if the zinc sulfide glows continuously in the dark, I stay very, very far away from it if I were you, and don't breathe in the dust.